Hello everyone, I'm Katie Starr, and today we're going to be talking about science communication and education in Waldorf schools. So to get started, we're going to be looking at what is a Waldorf school, and what does the Waldorf science curricula look like, and how is science communicated within the Waldorf community. So what is Waldorf education? Well, when you walk into a Waldorf classroom, you are welcomed with soft colors and natural silks draping from the ceilings, live plants growing at the windows, and the smell of baking bread drifts through the air. It's a space that is warm and inviting, and the only thing in the space that indicates that it's a classroom at all is usually that semicircle of wooden desks and chairs facing the chalkboard. So the Waldorf classroom looks a bit different compared to the traditional public school classrooms in America, and the principles upon which Waldorf education are based are also different. It can be traced back to Rudolf Steiner in 1919. Today, Waldorf education is considered the largest independent school movement in the world, with thousands of schools in over 75 countries. And the foundational principles upon which Steiner founded his first school, and which is still used in Waldorf schools today, are rooted in Steiner's philosophy of anthroposophy. And anthroposophy is the discipline of research as well as a path of knowledge, service, and personal growth and social engagement. It was introduced and developed by Rudolf Steiner, and it concerns with all aspects of human life, spirit, and humanity's future evolution and well-being. Many who live an anthroposophical life see this concept as a science. It is the science of becoming more fully human. So when a newcomer walks into the room and wishes to learn more, the answer usually is something along the lines of anthroposophy is something you can only learn and really understand by dedicating your whole life to the study of it. So while not all Waldorf teachers follow anthroposophical teachings in their personal life, to be a certified Waldorf school by the Association of Waldorf Schools in North America, these principles must be included in the classroom curriculum and in the teaching styles of the staff. So anthroposophical principles which make up Waldorf education may not at first glance appear to align with hard sciences, yet hard science is taught in the Waldorf schools. Physics and chemistry are introduced in late elementary, well before those subjects are taught in traditional public schools in America. Rudolf Steiner was heavily influenced by Goethe, and Goethe was, on one hand, viewed humans as participatory observers, using the form of disciplined intuition knowing rooted in the human sense perception. So Goethe's views were particularly interested in seeking the essence or the essential, what it means to be human. And Steiner applied this framework to his own thinking in education, and he began to see art and science as intertwined. So both of these men worked together, and they were both focused on finding that pivotal point of meaning and the tenet that underlines all of their work. So even today, participatory observation and finding that boiled down essence is what it means to be human is the boiled down essence of anthroposophy, at least as I understand it as an outsider. So how is science communicated within the Waldorf school? Is it really that different than traditional public school? And is in a Waldorf elementary school, class teachers stay with their class from grade 1 through grade 8. That means the same teacher is with the same group of students for their entire elementary career. This allows the class teacher to really know their students on an individual level, and we can see with the success of this approach with Lisa Hitch, who in 2018 was awarded the Excellence in Teaching STEM from Canada's Prime Minister. So Miss Hitch was with her class cohort from grade 1 to 8, and it's the way that she communicated scientific principles and that observational skills to her class that was noted as exemplary. So in the elementary class, or the elementary years, science is taught in the classroom through experience. So baking bread in the early years, fairy tales and fables, hands-on farm work, and beginning in 4th grade, students are introduced to man and animal. Then there's botany. In 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, there's a deeper exploration of chemistry, again through kitchen work and art, and the physics through music and motion. It is in the high school science that the course load becomes more intense, with high school classes having a much smaller class size of an average of 6 students per teacher, which allows for a more in-depth study of various scientific principles. Science teachers at the high school level continue to engage with science on a personal level, and they attend summer seminars and outside school workshops, university lectures, etc. By attending these events, that attend these events to improve their personal skills, not just for classroom teaching, but also to keep plugged into the scientific community for the latest research and findings. By continuing their education, these classroom teachers are then bringing new scientific ideas to their students. But again, even at the high school level, the Waldorf teacher's goal is not so much to explain how something works, but to show and then to invite the students to discover their own truths from the experiment. By engaging students this way, Waldorf science teachers are instilling critical thinking skills for their students, and it is that central overall comprehension of science that will help them later in life. By understanding how Waldorf education is different from traditional public education and how science is taught in the Waldorf schools, and even gaining a better understanding of how the teachers work within their schools, we as scientists can begin to bridge that gap between educators and scientists. So to effectively communicate science, we need to know our audience. In knowing our audience, we can better tailor our message to them. So if I am a scientist wanting to engage more with the Waldorf community, I need to better understand how that community works. And if I'm a Waldorf educator, I need to better understand how scientists communicate and feel that my worldview is valued and appreciated. And in this crazy world, if I am both a scientist and a Waldorf educator, I need to be doing all in my power to help bridge the gap between these two parties so that a better appreciation and understanding can be reached. So with a Waldorf education being the second largest educational movement in the world, second behind traditional education, we need to have a good understanding and appreciation for both educators and scientists, because lives are literally being shaped by these founding principles of both Waldorf education and science. We do have some research challenges though, because we are working with a community who is not seen by the general public as a viable form of education or viable science education. We need to be working extra hard to change perceptions. And we're also working with children, so getting IRB approval for research is difficult, getting funding is difficult, but there is a very distinct lack of empirical research here, and there needs to be more. In Waldorf education, one of the through-line mottos from kindergarten through high school is education and freedom, and that the goals of Waldorf education is not just the education of the mind, but also the heart and the hands. I think it is important for both those in the hard sciences and those teaching science in the Waldorf schools to have an understanding of where each side is coming from so they can more easily meet in that middle. When scientists know how science is taught in the Waldorf education, they can tailor their communications to this audience. And when Waldorf teachers understand how scientists communicate, they can begin to get more up-to-date information and incorporate that into their curricula. Both educators and scientists hold a great deal of power in shaping the lives and worldviews of their audience. So it is imperative that we meet in the middle so we can move forward together as equals and maybe even solve some of the world problems that we have today. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.